This is the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting.
If everyone could please take their seats. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We will bring this Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting to order, and it's Tuesday, September 17th. Please press your roll call.
Supervisor Ritchie. Oh, you got it. Thank you. Are we all set? Roll call shows that 23 members are present, 1 is vacant, 2 are absent, and 1 is excused.
Thank you. Clerk Lodewagen, have we legally fulfilled the open meeting statement?
We have, sir.
Thank you. Please stand for a moment of silent meditation and then the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, you all checked over the agenda. Is there a motion for approval? Supervisor Mork.
Move we approve it.
There's a motion by Supervisor Mork for approval. Supervisor Quistman.
Second.
And a second by Supervisor Quistman. Questions? Please vote.
I'm sorry, it's not giving me my tally, so. Oh, thank you, Pete. I'm looking all over for it. Thank you. Last chance to vote. That motion carries 23-0.
The minutes of August 20th, 19 were before you. Is there a motion for that approval? Supervisor Lair?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Supervisor Lair made a motion for that approval. Supervisor Hendrick?
I'll second that motion.
And Mr. Hendrick seconded. Questions? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23-0.
Just a question. Can you hear me in the back row? You okay? Okay, good deal. Isn't by choices. Number 7, ordinances and amendments to the General Code of Ordinances. A, 2019-679, amendment to Chapter 34, petition number Z-013-19, Town of Caledonia, James V. and Cynthia L. Saladino, for a zoning map amendment to apply to the RR district to a AWT district on approximately 8 acres. Morning, Ryan. Morning.
The Saladinos are looking to rezone this property from rural residential to AWT. The intention behind it is they're looking to have animal husbandry out there, and AWT gives them the ability to have 1 animal unit per acre. So that's what they're proposing.
Supervisor Vasquez?
I make a motion that we approve that.
There's a motion by Supervisor Quest for approval. Supervisor Zog,
I would second that.
and a second by Supervisor Zog. Do we have any questions? Discussion? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. That motion carries 23-0.
B, 2019-680, amendment to Chapter 34, petition number Z-014-19, Town of Farmington, Alan H. Grenley, for a zoning map amendment from the AR district to a RR-O district to create a 5-acre parcel. Supervisor Gerald Murphy,
Move to approve 2019-680 amendment to Chapter 34.
there is a motion by Gerald Murphy for that approval. Supervisor Nygaard,
I'll second that.
and a supervisor, there's a, and a second by Supervisor Nygaard. Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Let's vote.
Last chance to vote. That motion carries 23-0.
C, 2019-681, amendment to Chapter 34, petition number Z-015-19, Town of Farmington, Circle of Life Healing Artists, LLC, for a zoning map amendment from RR District to a RC-N District.
So they're looking to do a rezone here from the rural residential to the rural commercial neighborhood. There's a new business coming in, and the new business is going to be Waupaca Post. They're going to be looking to use that building for administrative office, which fits into our rural commercial neighborhood district.
Supervisor Johnson,
I move to approve.
there's a motion by Supervisor Dave Johnson for approval. Supervisor Morick,
I second that motion.
and a second by Supervisor Morick. Do we have any questions? Any discussion? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. The motion carries 23-0.
Thank you, Ryan. Resolutions. 8A. Resolution number 15, 2019-20. Deputy Medical Examiner wage.
Now therefore, let it be resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors does hereby authorize Waupaca County Deputy Medical Examiners to be compensated under Wisconsin Stats 59.38, Paren 4, as following, effective September 29, 2019. $2.50 per hour of on-call, investigation cases at $60 per case, hospice calls at $10 per case, and cremation at $25 per case.
Supervisor Craig.
Move to approve.
There's a motion by Supervisor Craig for approval. Supervisor Jonley.
I second that motion.
Second by Supervisor Jonley. Mr. Tamaris is in here today. If you have any questions or discussion or questions for him. Any discussion or questions? Let's vote.
Last chance to vote. That resolution passes 23-0.
Resolution number 16, 2019-20, creation of a Greenways Commission.
Now therefore be it resolved, the undersigned are members of the Planning and Zoning and Legislative and Judicial Committees recommend adoption of the following resolution. Be it further resolved that said plan shall be implemented through the creation of a Greenways Commission consisting of 11 members with the composition of the following: 3 county board supervisors representing the Park and Recreation, Highway, and Planning and Zoning committees, 3 technical staff members representing the same respective departments listed above, and 5 citizen members acting as stakeholders.
We have a motion for approval. Motion by Supervisor Vasquez.
I make that motion.
There is a motion by Supervisor Vasquez. Supervisor Nygaard.
Second.
And a second by Supervisor Nygaard. Do we have some discussion? Cool.
Chrisman, Craig, and Zog.
Yeah, we're showing that Supervisor Laird, Supervisor Craig, Supervisor Zog, and Supervisor Cussman are all requesting to speak, but that may have been regard to the motion. So if you're not wanting to address the question, if you could cancel your request to speak. Okay. Supervisor Cussman was first in line? No? Supervisor Zog? No? Okay. Supervisor Craig? Yes, thank you.
If Ryan is going to explain it to us, I can wait with my questions after he explains it, or I can ask you my questions and maybe he'll incorporate them into his discussion.
But you go ahead, Pat.
Okay. In looking at this and knowing that we're now in the explanation of what are our committees, how were they formed, what is the purpose, who's all on it. When I looked at this, I am not on any of these committees, so I don't know what's happening with the Greenways Commission. I did look back to our plan that we had, and while it doesn't specifically reference a commission saying what its composition should be and what its authority should be, those are my questions. What is the purpose? What is the terms of both the members on the committee and the committee itself? Is it an ongoing committee forever? I mean, if we're having a pedestrian bicycle plan, then indeed it can be a forever plan until we get everything happening. And then what is the budget that this committee will have to work with? In other words, I know that it wants to implement having bike trails and pedestrian trails alongside of the highways and that we build, be it the county and the local ones. And then the people that are on it, because I also don't know anything about them, I don't know how they were chosen, but when I white paged them, I found that there were 3 from the Waupaca area and 2 from the Iola area, as well as having a county board member from the Iola area. And my question is, why is it more spread out throughout the entire county so that Clintonville has a representative? I know that Pete is on it from the Caledonia, so that's the southeast corner, but I'm not finding a geographical representation from the entire county. Those are my questions. Thank you, Ryan.
I tried to write those down, but just bear with me. If I miss anything, just let me know.
Should I have her repeat all that?
Okay, so number one, I'll just start with the budget. So this is starting with a $25,000 seed money, and that's within my budget, the Planning and Zoning Department's budget, and that's what was presented to the Planning and Zoning Committee, and it was brought up at Finance this past last week, Wednesday. I believe that you had the question on the Greenways Commission, the $25,000. So the idea of that $25,000 is that's seed money. So this money is going to be leveraged. So the idea of this whole program is, again, implementing the bike ped plan. So it's a grant program. So you have all these different organizations throughout the county that can apply for these grants. And then they get awarded based on the, we have a ranking system built in with all the different projects. And depending on how they rank is whether or not they get awarded the money. And there's local matches that are required. So the idea being that I believe it's 50% is what's required in terms of local match. So if they have a $10,000 project, they need to bring $5,000 to the table, and then we'll kick in the other $5,000. So the idea being that we're it's not 25,000 that we're giving out in total. We're leveraging that to try to turn that into more dollars, essentially. This program was originally came out of Marathon County, and more recently Outagamie County. Outagamie's been doing this for some time. That's where I stole this from. So all their documentation, their policies, their fund, their ranking systems, I just took it straight from the ones that they've been using for some years now. And my plan here is that if I should say this comes together, I'm going to have an organizational meeting with this group, with this 11 members, and then go over all these different policies, the fund ranking, and all things like that. The idea being is that we make it our own, and that we're not just doing what, Outagamie, because they had a different set of scenario that they were dealing with too. So I just want to make sure that this is a Waupaca program and not we're not beholden to Outagamie. The makeup of the group. The idea being that we need to have county board supervisors on because we're using county board money, or using county money. And we wanted to have technical staff on for a couple of reasons. We want to make sure there's continuity. Like say Casey Beiersdorf, our highway commissioner, is on there because with highway, a lot of these bike ped trails are going to be using right-of-ways. So it makes sense to have his knowledge of the 5-year plan because we need to if we're going to be utilizing those right-of-ways, we're going to need to have a guy like him who has the understanding of the 5-year plan. Jason Francis is on there from Park and Rec. Of course, he has a background in all things, with trails, so, and also the Park and Rec department can actually apply for group money themselves too. And then also myself, as the planning and zoning director, is on there. So then I went to all these different governing committees and I asked the committees who they would want in terms of the supervisors to be on here. And those are the people that raised their hand, essentially. There really was no, in terms of the geography on the geographic issues, it was really more of, in terms of the supervisors, who was the one willing to be on it. And those were the 3 people, that Lee Muck, Terry Murphy, and Pete Vasquez. They were the ones that agreed to be on it. So they were put on. So when it comes to the 5 stakeholders, so we had a series of public informational meetings downstairs, and they were very well attended, and so we tried to, as part of those meetings, was okay, we need 5 people from this room to be on this commission. And again, it came down to who would be willing to raise their hands rather than, so I understand what you're saying. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it is weighted toward Waupaca and Iola. There's really, we can't force anybody to be on. Brian Feast, he's on there. The one nice thing about him is he was actually on the Outagamie Greenways Commission, so he has a lot of experience from that standpoint. The other ones, they're just bike ped avid, they're enthusiasts, very much interested, so we included them. So we had a couple that Todd Meerdink and Brian Feast were on originally, and then we were asking them, do you know anybody, who would also be interested in this? And that's kind of how it grew from there. Also, Ann in the Park and Rec department was also very instrumental in finding other people who might be interested in this. In terms of terms, we don't have that set up right now. In terms of how we don't have it set up there after 2 years, it has to be rotated out. We don't have that. And that's going to be one of the questions that I'll be asking the group is that something that's necessary? Do we need to have fresh minds and eyeballs on these issues? I don't know. I can't say that it's going to be agreeable to the group or not. So I guess that's up in the air in terms of if there's going to be term limits of people on the group. In terms of the life of this project, of course, I would want it to be successful, and I want it to be going for a long time. So I don't have it set up so it's a sunset date on this.
You covered my list, Ron.
Did I get?
Supervisor Craig, quite frankly, I guess you and I didn't qualify.
We didn't go to that meeting, so we could volunteer.
Any other questions or discussion? Please vote. Thank you, Ryan.
Last chance to vote. The motion carries 23-0.
Thank you. Number 9 is reports. Jessica Beckenford's coming forth, going to talk about UW Extension Impact newsletter.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Chris is, I'm sorry.
They had a last minute change there.
All right, good morning. The first thing that I'll report is that I am not Jessica Beckendorf. So one of the things that's really great, good morning, my name is Chris View. I'm the Area Extension Director with Extension here in Waupaca County, and I just wanted to take a moment to just share some highlights of the really great work that Extension is doing in Waupaca County and throughout our surrounding communities. One of the reasons why I'm pitch hitting for Jessica is that she is busy with one of her signature programs that starts off today. She works with a group that they do a virtual conference, and she's on the planning committee, and that virtual conference kicks off in about 10 and 15 minutes. So she's part of that group, so she asked me to fill in, and I have a Penny Tank is going to give an update as she's got some goodies in the back for some individuals. So a couple of things that you'll notice if you get a chance to read through that I'd like to highlight is that the next Leadership Waupaca County class has already started, and Jessica did a really fun list of some things that the class is looking forward to. Every year there are some changes. There are some things that are very, very appreciated through the evaluation of past participants that are included, and some other trends and some other changes. And so you can see that there are some new workshops with some facilitators with UW Stevens Point and some other cool crowd-pleasing events, including the trip down to Madison. One of the things, if you'll note, for the County Board of Supervisors, there's a couple of mark your calendar dates that we'd like to make sure that you are aware of. So on December 12th at 8:30, you are all invited for a continental breakfast with the Leadership Waupaca County program. So please RSVP to Dana in the Extension office, and that will unlock the key to where the location is so that you go to the right spot. So that's a mark your calendar. And the other part that you, for those of you that like to plan way ahead, April 30th will be the graduation ceremony. So you can mark that on your calendar. That'll be a late afternoon, early evening event to celebrate the work of that crew as they have gone through. Couple other things that I do want to also point out. The most recent Ag Census came out, and Greg Blondie provided a summary as it relates to Waupaca County. I'd encourage you to take a look there, and if you have any questions, to please follow up with Greg. I want to point out that we have award-winning staff. Christy Gabrilska is our FoodWise coordinator. She coordinates the program for here in Waupaca County and also in Calumet, Outagamie, and Winnebago counties. And she was recognized at one of their regional meetings for their annual Golden Innovative Award for the work that she's done related to here in getting increasing access to the farmers market through individuals that may have limited financial resources. So how can the individuals that may have financial resources still be aware and have access to the farmers market, focusing first on Waupaca County and then being able to replicate. Hopefully the plan is to replicate in other areas. One other piece that I wanted to just share is that we have a couple new staff members, so you might hear see some new faces or hear some new voices. In late May, Amy Ebert joined our staff as a part-time administrative support. She's the primary one that if you give a call or you stop in the office, she'll be the first voice or the first face that you'll see. She's been a great addition to the team. And also, Haley Struck is working with the FoodWise program in a temporary capacity through a couple pieces. So she's providing direct education. So as the school year cranks up, she'll be going and visiting classrooms throughout the community and providing nutrition education lessons to youth in the third and fifth grade classrooms. So some new faces. Happy to answer any questions that anyone may have. And if you have questions about specific programs, please feel free to connect the office and connect to the educators. And with that, I'm going to invite Penny up.
Good morning. I'm Penny Tank with the 4-H program, and I just wanted to let you know I did send an email yesterday to town chairs. The Waupaca County 4-H program throughout Waupaca County, we do 2 large fundraisers, which are our 4-H food stand at the county fair, along with the Waupaca County plat book. And every 3 or 4 years, that plat book is updated, and along with that new contract comes a complimentary wall map for each of the towns. And so I have those in the back of the room. If anybody here is willing to get that to your town chairs, if you don't have that opportunity, I totally understand. We will get them to them another way. But I do have those here, and I will be hanging around to try and get those out to you so they can get out to the towns. And we just appreciate the support. If anybody would like a plat book, they are available at the extension office for $35. If you'd like to even stop and look at one, that would be great as well. We're happy to have a 2019 plat book available. So thank you very much.
Thank you for all the information. Thank you for the great job you and your department does. Sheriff Wills.
Morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
Morning, County Board. Today we are going to acknowledge Detective Sergeant Nick Traeger for Heroic Award Act. I'm going to go ahead and read what happened, and then I'll pin the medal on Nick. A type of complaint was a shooting complaint. The date and time was March 17th of 2019. Occurred on Beggs Hill Road, Town of Lind. On March 17th, 2019, Waupaca County Communications Center received a report of a gunshot fire at the address of Beggs Hill Road. The Communications Center was also advised that there was an individual shot in the foot. The injured victim felt he could not leave the residence due to his injuries. Several officers were responding to the call. Detective Sergeant Nicholas Traeger responded to the residence. He saw a male subject waving his arms to get his attention. Detective Sergeant entered the driveway and asked the male subject where the individual with the weapon was. The injured subject was told that he was in the house. Detective Traeger ordered the victim to try and come to his vehicle. The injured victim did make his way to Detective Traeger. Detective Traeger was able to get the injured victim into his squad car. Detective Traeger removed the injured victim from the residence to a waiting ambulance down the road. During the extradition, the injured victim advised Detective Traeger that he believed the individual with the firearms was in the house with other people. He believed that this may be a hostage situation. Detective Traeger relayed this information to the incident command. A perimeter was set up to reporting officers. Detective Traeger followed the ambulance to Theta Care, and officers were able to take the subject into custody without further injury. The quick thinking and actions of Detective Sergeant Nicholas Traeger prevented any injuries from loss of life. County board members, what you got to realize is it's officers like Detective Traeger and other officers throughout the nation who put this uniform on. And what are they there for? Protect and serve. And in this point in time of Detective Sergeant Nicholas Stragers, that's what he did. He protected life and prevented further injury from anyone else. Congratulations, Dick.
Congratulations and thank you for what you do. Waupaca County is very proud of people like you, officers like you. Thank you for your professionalism. Thank you. (2018) Annual Register of Deeds Report, Mr. Mazemke.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I put a handout on your desk, and each year I kind of do the same thing, so I'm going to switch it up just a little bit and kind of hit the highlights and go through a few things with you and have a little fun with this one. So as you'll see on the second page of this, Vital Records continues to be an incredible endeavor in our office. The Real ID has really created a lot of buzz. This isn't a certified copy, this little black and white thing that I have. So we're continuously trying to explain to people that certified copies are a little different than what they got at birth. So as you go through, get your updated driver's license, the Real ID. Make sure if you're a male, you have your birth certificate. Females, if you change your name when you got married, you're going to need a certified copy of your marriage. So you know what it costs to get your driver's license. You might as well add on 20 to 40 to, depending on how many times you're married, maybe additional money. So you'll see the numbers there. I'm not going to go through each of them. Kind of going down the list, getting copies of your real estate records has been an incredible amount of revenue that comes into our office. Again, last year, 2018, over $90,000 worth of revenue was generated. Kind of going down, there is a chart on the back with some totals as to how many documents are recorded. You'll see that number has kind of dwindled since the old refinance days. However, the real estate sales portion of our business is incredible. There's been a lot of sales. Last year, kind of noted in there, $225 million worth of real estate sales in Waupaca County. So those are pretty significant numbers. And it seems to be holding that trend so far this year. I will kind of also note electronic recording with title companies has been ever changing with our office. I was telling the treasurer, Mark Sether, that just 3 years ago, I think we were around 30% of our documents were electronically recorded. Last year, that number was up to 53%, and so far, year to date, we're at 62%. The good thing about that is timeliness. Obviously, recording a deed, recording a mortgage is very important as to when that document comes in. Title companies now are electronically recording. We look at that document when it kind of hits our desktop computers, and we go, okay, this is right. Let's record. This is wrong. Let's reject it. Within 15 minutes, they have it back to us ready to record again. There's not 3 days, 4 days with mail this way, that way. So that's kind of been an incredible part of our business and kind of interesting. Makes things a lot easier and saves a ton of money in postage when we're sending back documents. Kind of moving on here. Again, you can look at the numbers, and I'm happy to answer. Step up to my office anytime. I'm happy to go through some of those numbers with you. As I did last year's report, at the end of my report, I put in my goals for 2018, and as some of you know, we didn't exactly accomplish all those things in 2018. So, Clerk Jill over there has been pestering me, when are you going to give your annual report? Well, as I told her, I'm not going to give this report until a lot of these things are done. So here are some of the things that we accomplished late 2018, early 2019. I'm working with the Veterans Service Office. DD 214, your military discharge papers. We now have image them, and we're going to work with that office to completely index those records with the name. Right now, they have an index on their desktop where they can look at the volume and page of any. They look for the name in the index, and then they link it up with the image that's available through a program that we got through TriMen. We are also going to link it up so that they can search that record by name in this new computer program. So there's approximately 14,469 of those records that are available. Every time before they needed one of these records, the veteran would be sitting up there. They'd come down 3 floors, get the record, go back upstairs. It's just going to save and make it more convenient for them to get those records to their veteran right away. But it also ensures that if anything ever happens to these records, we're going to have a permanent image available forever in case of, something happened, something got destroyed. So they're already working. The program was put in, I believe it was a week ago Friday that the Veteran Service Office employees got that. They're already working. We're already indexing those records. It's going to be a little timely project, but I've also kind of hopefully we can get that done in the next year. So that's been really a fun thing to get accomplished. Images. In early 2019, our grantor-grantee index went online. So that's your only way of searching real estate records in Waupaca County with the old stuff. So there's 20,225 pages of grantor-grantee index. So if you're a buff and want to do some history, you can go online, check your name. It's going to be timely. It's going to take a while to kind of go through, but if you got a date time, you can find the records as to when your property was purchased, sold, some of those things. So that index is available. It's turned out very well that I don't have all the title companies coming to my office. I kind of miss visiting with some of the people, but they don't have to come here anymore to research real estate records. To go along with that, all deeds, final decrees, and miscellaneous volumes have also, every image has been put out there. So if your deed was the first deed recorded in Waupaca County, all 127,182 images are now available online. So you can get those after you find your record. You can go in by volume and page and pull off that information. It's my goal to have names to go with each one of those, but I don't know if I'll see that in my lifetime, but who knows? Some of the digital imagery things are happening pretty quickly, and who knows where it'll be in 5 years. So another big one has been redacting Social Security numbers, and that's been banging my head against the wall for a long time, but we can actually say now that project is pretty well complete. We have to do a lot of work in-house to kind of double check. About a month ago, the GIS department called me in and said, hey, there's a Social Security number, or what looks to be a Social Security number, redacted on a certified survey map. Well, there's no Social Security numbers on CSM. So it's working, but it's not working. I told the gentleman, I said, I just want them gone. Have it redact everything that looks like a match. We don't want Social Security numbers out there. It's just not a good practice. And so we've kind of done what we needed to do. It's interesting, this program went through 389,912 documents and 1,074,987 images to check for Social Security numbers. So it was a pretty big project when it came right down to it. So another one of those things that's kind of checked off, but a lot of background follow-up that we have to kind of check out. So now's where it's going to get fun. This is a document that I found in my office. Again, a real old one. So take yourself back to 1902. Wasn't a lot of money around, right? A lot of farmers. So this agreement, and I'm just going to read this, wherein the parties of the first part for the consideration hereafter mentioned has agreed and does hereby covenant, promise, and agree that they will furnish the said parties of the second part 1 cow, 3 years old, with stable room for said cow and feed for summer and winter. And when said cow becomes old, a younger cow shall be given in her place. Also 1 good sheep's fleece annually, 1 hog to weigh 300 pounds, 6 barrels of good wheat flour annually, Also 30 bushels of good marketable potatoes. Shall furnish wood as the stove may need. And it just keeps 2 pairs of shoes, 1 new suit of clothes every 5 years, $50 in cash annually, all apples to be grown on 1 crabapple tree, 1/2 acre of land plowed, harrowed for gardening annually. Second party agrees that they shall grant the horse, wagon, and sleigh whenever it shall be needed, if not being worked on the farm. Illness part, furnished doctors. This was what they agreed to for the father giving the son the farm. It talks about the real estate in the town of Little Wolf. Interesting part of this, and if any of you know my uncle, Pastor Mazemke, he preached about this quite often, because the bottom line on this thing was the aforementioned agreement was amended to include no profanity to be used on the farm by party of the second part. This is between my great-grandfather and his son. So one of the pieces of property on this, our family still owns. So pretty good stuff. There was another agreement that is crazy too, about 2 potato hooks, 2 pitchforks, all the personal property. And it's amazing. And again, these records will forever be a part of our history. There's no way they can be lost because they are all digitally imaged. So a good project to say is kind of behind us, and plenty of work to go along with indexing this stuff. Again, probably take a lifetime to get all this information all put in there the way we want it. But we work at it hard every day, and anybody ever has any questions, we're happy to work with you and help you figure things out on your real estate if possible. So I don't know if there's any questions, but that's about all I have for you today.
Questions for Mike? I did find this on your floor close by. It got away on you, I think.
Well, I seen that sitting up there. I was kind of curious about
1918. I might have mentioned this before. The supervisor went to the state association of meetings in Madison for 2 days. He got paid $8 for those 2 days, and he got paid one-way mileage of 117 miles, $14.04. Somewhere he's got a check coming for $25.04. So if you're missing this.
Well, I'm glad you got that one, because you should have seen what the Register of Deeds got.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to hear from Mr. Beiersdorf.
Can we start with the project finance?
You're the boss.
All right, very good. Good morning. Our new highway facility project is getting into the stages where we're moving, and if you've ever been through a moving project, it can be cumbersome, but it is a good place to be at this point in this project. I would say that our staff has been moving from the old facility into the new facility for about the past 3 weeks now. In your packet, you should have received the job progress report that Myron provides us. Just vaguely going through it, the pictures that you see here are exterior photos. At nighttime, we're starting to get people calling us about why are the lights left on, and that's just things we're going through, as this is a big change in the city of Waupaca and the town of Lind and for ourselves. So we have to work through all them different things to make sure that when you walk into a room and you're working there at night and it turns on them lights, that someone shuts the lights off, because just technology sometimes can be a little, I don't know, struggling to figure out how to make it work. So page 1 is the highway department's office area. It's essentially all put together. We'll screw up into the next page. This is where the planning room and a highway committee is going to meet. All the furniture is installed. There's one partition door that needed to get put in yet, but that was being placed this morning. It's coming together very quickly. The next page is a photo of basically large loader tires and grader tires getting moved from our old shop. We're starting to put the racking up in the new shop, and since this photo's been taken, we've hauled probably 15 semi-loads of plow blades and construction barrels and parts and you name it. The building's starting to slowly take shape as far as where things are going to be placed with inside of it. The next photo in the project progress report will be of I know the bottom of it says asphalt paving, but if you can see that even if you drive by the shop right now, there's not all of the overhead doors are not installed. That would be the one kind of to the left on the picture. That's because the painter is painting that inside of that area yet, and once the painter's done, then they'll put the doors in so the doors don't accidentally get the overspray on it. The next one is just a photo of the truck wash bay. It's not completed yet. They still need to put the rub rails in so the truck knows that it won't hit its wing or the side of it on the side of the moving car wash, truck wash. So that's something that our crews are going to receive training on, or one of the few things we're going to receive training on here in our training day in October. All of the lifts have been installed. There's the in-floor lift, which you see right there, that'll pick up a fully loaded quad axle truck in case you can't work underneath it, or you at least can get it in the air. That's one of the 4 lifts that we have in the shop. Next photo is the employees, we call it the break room. It's where the employees come to work in the morning. They'll receive their orders from the supervisors, and then they'll leave that room that you see there, and then they'll go out to their vehicles or then go out on their road projects. And then lunchtime, that's where the mechanics will have a place to sit and eat along with our other staff. The next photo is of the lockers, almost finished. These lockers are unique in that when you have a forced air system in a building, there always has to be a return that takes the air back. And in this locker design, the air is going to be taken in through the foot spots, down below, and also the little vents. So there'll be forced air coming in, and then the locker rooms is what's sucking the air back through the employees' lockers to try to keep them from smelling like a football team's locker room. So it's kind of neat how that was thought of and designed. So there's a few things along the project that we added that were not in the original scoping of the work, and we all did it with the funds available. So one of the things that we had brought up at Highway Committee is the need for a loading dock. It just wasn't thought of way up front in the scoping. So that was something we were able to fund, and that's a picture of it without the mechanism installed yet. Outside of that, the other updates I have on project progress are on this piece of paper. The furniture is in all the administrative areas for the most part, other than like refrigerators, and we are going to have a washer dryer there. They have not been installed yet, but they're ordered. The exterior finishes isn't done, but they're going to put in lightings over the exterior doors. The primary focus was to get everything inside done. Now they're putting the outside lighting on. There's some photos that Jill has here that was just recently taken. You'll see that the American flag has been put on the side of the building facing County Highway A, and I got a lot of questions on that one as to why we needed 2 flags, and one was to represent what I think our department represents, and that's the United States, and we're just a small portion of it. The other one was the flag that went on the pole so that we can lower it and raise it for memorials and stuff like that. So we felt the need for the one on the pole as well. And you can keep clicking through these, Jill, just a lot of them kind of look the same. Parts are being transferred by our crews for the past 3 weeks. The fab shops, brake and brake press, machinery presses, all of the things that are hardwired are being brought out there this week, and then the electrician is wiring them into the building. The parking lot has had the entire second lift of asphalt placed, and the second lift of asphalt started yesterday. Hopefully by the end of this week, all of our surface mat of paving will be completed. Bray Architects is continuing to create punch list items for Myron's team and their subcontractors on, hey, this paint is chipped or that don't look right. So there's constant punch list stuff going on right now. Our IT department with Brent has started. I think might have 1 or 2 computers in the facility at this point, so that that one computer can get linked up to the fuel systems and the security systems to make sure they're all functioning. And as that one becomes the priority, then his team will continue adding more and more workstations for our admin employees. Renee, our purchasing manager downstairs in finance, she is working on contracts with printing services. So our fax and copy machines will be one of the first ones on their hit list to get installed in our new facility. Landscaping around the front of the building needs to be completed. It has not yet because the Myron trailer was in the way. So our landscaper is going to put in trees and shrubs and bushes and plants. Some of it's to hide lighting from the neighbor. Some of it is aesthetically pleasing, check the box stuff, because the city of Waupaca says if you develop within the city, you have to have so many bushes and so many plants. It's part of their process. The other aesthetics for the landscaping is just to make it look nice. So that's taking place here as soon as it dries out a little bit. Is that the end of the photos then? So with that, there might be one video that I wanted to show, and that one video is not of the, it might be the drone photos of the old building. Yes, the second file folder. I just wanted to show this because it was kind of neat. If we can find the video in there, maybe that top one, Jill. This is kind of neat just to see where we're at, and now you can kind of see where we're going. So a lot of the stuff that you see outside in this photo, it will all be under a building at this point, outside of culvert pipes and maybe some storm manholes, stuff that was made to be outside. But I just thought it was neat to show this because this video will be used on Wisconsin Surplus to help bid out or to help sell this existing facility coming up here October 1st through the 24th. So we're looking forward to seeing how aggressive. Hopefully it sells as soon as possible, but October 24th, we're hopefully going to have a highest bidder and be able to award it to someone. But we've got this picture was taken when all of our trucks essentially were out on the road working, and so there's a lot of stuff you don't see that doesn't make it inside the building. So it's pretty neat to be able to protect a lot of this stuff. The video I try to get for sales purposes is kind of show a little bit of the river that we're currently on right now. Maybe it would come into a developer where he wants to develop something that enhances it using the river. The financial progress of the building overall, of the $22.1 million, so to speak, that Myron had to build it for us, we're doing very, very well financially. I'll say that we'll be under budget when we're done with the project. That is awesome because you never know where you're going to be when you hear all these numbers of what it costs to build things these days. So we'll be under budget. Myron has been paid, or they sent their last pay application in for about $18.1 million. So there's about $4 million out there yet hanging. Of some of it, we won't spend all of it. The rest of it is being withheld because our crews haven't submitted the bill for the asphalt paving of the surface mat. There's retainage that the subcontractors get paid once they've met the punch list items for the final inspection. And then the other video is just of the building across the road, which is my administrative office currently. That is, that's that for that. So outside of that, we've got some milestones to meet along the way. The first milestone is moving. And if you're moving your house or just moving across the city, it's something else. So there's a lot to figure out with that. We want to be in there and occupying it for all of my staff September 30th. So that's sneaking up here within 13 days or so. And with that, there's some final inspections from the state inspector, the city inspector. You have to get occupancy permits prior to occupying. So September 30th, that's where we'll be, is in that facility. I don't know, beyond that, another milestone is the advertising of the existing facility from October 1st to October 24th on a Wisconsin surplus. And then November 7th will be our first formal dedication ceremony. So that would be on a Thursday, November 7th. That one's going to be from 11 to 1 o'clock. You all get invitations. Myron's got a huge dedication team that's creating pamphlets and brochures, and you'll get that more formal than just me talking about it now. And then the following Saturday on November 9th, we have a more of an informal open house from 10 o'clock to noon, and that's where public can come in on a Saturday, get away from work and meet more or see more of the project on what we've accomplished over the last pushing 2 years now since we started this project in November of 2017. That kind of winds down what I've got, so thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Supervisor Craig?
Are we selling the administration you're building across the road separately from the facility itself? So it'll be two separate things?
There'll be two separate ones. Yep, we did that in reasoning because the zoning of each one of them is different. The building I occupy now is considered a residential zoning, and across the road that is a commercial zoning, and so we're going to try to separate the two. If we do have anyone that's interested during purchase on combining them because they want that as their admin office, well then they're going to have to work with the city of Waupaca's zoning department on figuring that part of it out and getting permissions to do so if they want to buy both. But yeah, bid separately.
Thank you.
Did you want to mention the items on surplus to the furniture and desk?
Yes. In addition to just the buildings themselves, we've got a lot of desks, a lot of chairs, down to waste paper baskets, shelving, closets, old tables, presses. There's a lot of stuff inside the building itself that we still are going to take individual photos of individual things and try to sell them separately through the process, instead of just saying it all comes with the building.
Anybody else? Thank you very much, Casey.
Thank you.
Okay, a few things in my report. Many of you were at the event on Saturday, a big event celebrating 41 years of professional work from Al Krager at the Sheriff's Department. What an event that was. He's got multiple awards, state awards from all over. He had to have a truck to take those home, I'm sure. I'm sure Mr. Krager will go down in the annals of the Sheriff's Department history as one of the great ones that ever been employed there. Personally, I've known Al for many, many years when I was an EMT with the ambulance service and he was on the road, and we unfortunately got to many accidents together. If I wanted to know something about the Sheriff's Department or anything in a $12 million budget, go over and see Al. He had it. He knew it. He was a Wikipedia, as I said the other night, the Wikipedia of knowledge for the Sheriff's Department. Not only that year, but years, whatever. Amazing, amazing man. The other thing that's going to be a little different is tomorrow on my radio program, and you're going to say, wait a minute, how did this qualify? But my guess is going to be Craig Bry, the Commissioner of BABA Baseball. Why is that? It's because Waupaca County has been a hotbed of amateur baseball for many years, garnering many championships from around the county. Lately, they were just one of the finest BABA Grand Championship games played ever. Waupaca and Iola was a 2-1.
Little Falls.
Little Falls, excuse me. Little Falls is 2-1, I believe, wasn't it?
Right.
And Lee's been a part of this through the years. I have, some of you others have played baseball, and the Badger Amateur Baseball Association is one of the finest amateur leagues in Wisconsin, encompassing many communities like Waupaca, Clintonville, Iola, Little Falls, and so on. I think there's 25, 26 teams that play every year. I personally was part of it for 5 decades, so I'm prejudiced. But Craig Bry, who's the BABA commissioner, is also forming a baseball Hall of Fame, BAB Baseball Hall of Fame. I believe it's going to be stationed in Marion, as I understand. So he's going to talk about all this and about Waupaca County baseball hierarchy. So at any rate, that's going to be my guest tomorrow. Many of you are going to, or some of you are going to the annual convention. Again, I can't be there. I got some minor surgery scheduled next Monday, but bring back a lot of knowledge and be prepared to be called on to give a few reports. So be ready, okay? Isn't that right, Mary Kay? You're always ready. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Announcements and correspondence. Oh, appointments. I'm sorry. I always want to skip that. Appointments. Go ahead.
We have the appointments to the Greenways Commission, which was passed by resolution 16 above. Technical staff will be Casey Beiersdorf from the Highway Commission, John Francis from Park and Rec Director, Ryan Brown, Planning and Zoning Director. County Board Supervisors will be Pete Vasquez, District 21, Lee Muck, District 5, and Terry Murphy, District 7. And stakeholders Bill Zimmerman, Greg Lesher, Brian Feast, Todd Murdick, and Jack Vader.
Do we have a motion for those for approval? Supervisor Quistman?
I'll make that motion.
There is a motion by Supervisor Quistman for approval. Mr. Zog?
I would second that motion.
And a second by Mr. Zog. Do we have any discussion or questions? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. That motion carries 23-0.
And back to announcements. As you see here, we're going to have a special county board meeting on October 15th. Now this will be discussion of the 2020 proposed budget discussion. There's been a lot of work done by the department heads, the finance committee. Certainly Heidi Dombrowski's been a big part of this, advising and so on. So we're going to have an extra meeting, and just for transparency, so we can all get a chance to ask questions and look things over on the budget and understand it, because we'll have time to understand whatever question you ask. We should be able to get you an answer. We rather do this, have an extra meeting, than come to the reading of the budget and then have a big hullabaloo of 100 questions. Many of these questions will get answered. So this is why we got the extra meeting. I hope it works out well, and I'm sure it will. Of course, the normal county board meeting will be on the 29th, and that, like I said, that's the reading of the proposed budget. And then, of course, in November, the budget hearing is November 12th at 9 o'clock. We want to make sure that Supervisor Quistman gets thank you today for buying those non-caloric donuts.
I'm empty.
Good. Thank you.
And if you don't mind.
My wife was.
You got those from Clintonville, I hope, huh? Those donuts?
No, I was joking.
And if you don't mind, Chair Kevin, I just want to point out a mistake that I made in the agenda on item A2. It should read sections 12.4 and 12.4A, not 2.04 and 2.04A. So I did not amend the agenda for that.
Okay, in closing, I want to thank all you supervisors for the great job you do. It's really a pleasure to be a part of this county board and recent county boards. And thank you. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Mr. Zog?
I would move we adjourn this great group of people.
Thank you, Mr. Zog. Supervisor Lair,
Second.
and a second by Supervisor Janet Lair. We are adjourned. Thanks all.
Thank you.